I actually think James is a very strong matchup in this game.
Let's see.
Seems very,
wow.
very powerful to me. I think Kingdra is just a very natural
Definitely
choice.
agree. I think Rain in general is pretty great here. If that was a Thunderous Eye on LightCore's team, I might think a little bit differently. It could be T-waving things.
That's
it isn't.
true.
It's a Thunderous T that has to bend over to something in the rain.
It's kind of sad how much Thunderous
What
Eye...
item Thunderous T is that?
It's a Scarf.
Scarf.
I mean,
okay, so
it
it can handle the Terrakion.
It can handle the Terrakion, but I believe... Am I allowed to say items that I don't have? But so it could handle the Terrakion. I believe LightCore did reveal last week that his Thunderous had Grass.
Oh yeah, it's a natural move on Scarf.
Yeah, so that could one-shot Terrakion unless it is one of its top 2 items focus.
But interestingly, I think outside that Terrakion, the Thunderous team might struggle to OKO any of the Pokemon on James's team.
Politoed?
Except maybe Politoed. If it has enough bulk, I would think it can live with Thunderbolt.
Sure.
Especially with the power nerf.
And plus, I think Metagross is a fantastic matchup against this team. Because what Metagross can, like, it has a, sorry, not a fantastic matchup, but what Metagross does
kind of average.
Yeah, but what it can do, I think Politoed, Kingdra, and Metagross do very well, because Kingdra, it can't get the Draco Meteors on Salamence while Clefairy's out, but Metagross, it walls most Salamence. It's able to take, unless you're running a sort of a mixed with Fire move.
Which we know that LightCore does not.
Yeah, I believe he does have Earthquake, but that's not going to do much to Mega Metagross. Okay, and we're getting the battle started. So, again, on LightCore, we do see LightCore's team on the top with Salamence, Clefairy, Scrafty, Terrakion, Thunderous T, and Heatran, and on the bottom we see James' team with Politoed, Kingdra, Terrakion, Thunderous, Hydreigon, and Metagross. Thunderous, named irritatingly, is #GotWrecked.
No, that's a Terrakion.
That is Terrakion. Thunderous is named Japanese.
Putting hashtag in your Pokemon names isn't original. You shouldn't do it.
And so, I think the problem I have with James's matchup is that Clefairy seems to do very well against this.
Yeah, that's a good point. Outside the Metagross, he's gonna have kind of real problem to deal with.
Although Helping Hand Muddy Water might do a large amount of damage to Clefairy.
Large amount. Yeah, I guess that is going to be able to hit a
especially since Clefairy rarely invests in special defense, normally investing in more defense to deal with Pokemon such as Metagross or Kangaskhan.
Oh, that's a good point. We might not even see the Metagross one-shotting the Clefairy if it is that invested in defense. I know if it runs 252 Bulge, and the game is going to start.
Okay, so we will see the leads.
This is finals, Mr. Yoba.
And we see the Rain lead coming out from James, very strong in this situation. And we see Scrafty and Salamence coming out from Nick. That's a very interesting lead. Since the advent of move tutors this gen, Politoed tends to run things like Helping Hand, things like Icy Wind, which may mean that it might not be able to KO the Salamence. Last gen, it used to run more offensive.
Yeah, you generally saw Scar, occasional Specs.
Yeah, but at the same time, if James just wanted to drop meteors on the Salamence, I mean
that is true. That is.
But
true.
we have to wonder.
But
whether
we do have to
this
wonder
is
whether
Swift Swim Kingdra.
That is, I highly doubt if he's leading Politoed Kingdra.
That's called a bluff. It's called an effective bluff.
That is true. He could be bluffing me.
I think Scrafty is a really natural lead for LightCore here. Absolutely something.
Yeah,
I think
LightCore could do something like a Protect Snarl. Snarl is going to be.
Oh, and the Salamence staying in, interestingly.
Possibly protecting. Or maybe LightCore is just going for his trademark. Assume he won't. Oh, and he's just pumping his fist. He's really happy because Kingdra is protecting himself. And we do see the fake out and most likely return onto the Politoed. Strong plays. And we see the Citrus Berry revealed on Politoed. Possibly physically bulky, but that took a lot of damage.
It's not that hard for it to live the return.
So,
But it's good knowledge for LightCore that this isn't a Scarf Polytoad. His Mance is free to stay in on and get like massive damage with their turn.
that's true. That is useful information. I think you generally would expect that, but some people are bringing it back like Celesty.
Yeah. and also at the same time, assuming he's not using Sniper Kingdra, that Kingdra is probably threatening the Salamence in the,
that's
the range.
true.
So
we
it's
might
not as safe as one would think.
So you might see switch in from Mence into Clefairy, considering that we might just see
At that
some
point the
standard
Scrafty would
water
be taking
pressure.
very little damage from anything due to Friend Guard. Assault Vest, really great special defense.
You could get a knockoff on Kingdra. Many Kingdra now carry things like, what do Kingdra carry? I think Life Orb.
Probably.
Life Orb. So I think we could. Oh, we see Substitute coming out from Kingdra. It sounds not even switching.
The balls.
Very interesting. We see the
to
return
deal with
onto
this
the
up.
Kingdra. Wow. We see the Scald from Polytoad going most likely onto the Scrafty. Getting the burn. That's very helpful. We do see the knockoff going onto the Kingdra. James just and a crit, revealing the Life Orb. James really not taking advantage of his strong positioning to go for stronger water moves. Nick making very, very ballsy plays.
Leaving in that Mance was kind of interesting, considering the Scrafty was only getting the knockoff off there.
I'm not really sure.
But at this point, we have to wonder whether the Mence is going to do the same thing. I mean, maybe he assumed it was Sniper, in which case...
By the way, it has been revealed not to be Sniper.
Yeah,
moving
at
faster
this point.
than a Mega Salamence, and changing moves.
But after turn 1, we weren't sure.
Yes, of course. Kingdra going for Protect, Salamence staying in, going for the return onto the Polytoad.
Getting it out of there.
That's the end of the range.
I've never seen Salamence stay in 3 turns on a Kingdra.
And a Polytoad.
And a Polytoad.
And live to tell about it.
Yeah. And we see the switch in Metagross. I think Metagross... I'm really not sure. What do you think James has in the back? We've seen the Polytoad, we've seen the Kingdra, we've seen the Metagross. Will we possibly see the Terrakion to deal with a Heatran?
Thunderous Eye wouldn't really make sense. Hydra?
We might see a Hydreigon.
We know what item it is.
We see Metagross Mega Evolving, cutting our commentary short. Probably going for the Iron Head onto the Scrafty. Finally goes for the Protect. Kingdra goes for the Draco Meteor onto the Salamence. The Iron Head onto the Salamence. And we see the Snarl coming out from Scrafty, bypassing the burn. This is not going well for
The double target on
James.
Mence is honestly kind of confusing there. I mean,
I
I guess
would
you could see
understand
it as a safe play, but
Clefairy switching in.
but then you're Draco Meteoring into nothing.
That's true. This seems pretty solidly in LightCore's favor, unless Metagross can,
I'm not actually sure if I would say that, but he's been making the plays every single turn.
I mean, if we see a Clefairy and a Heatran in the back, I think it could be very convincingly in Nick's favor. We see the Draco Meteor.
Ooh.
Finally,
Does Mence think it can live that? I mean, the life orb
getting
has
rid
been
of
checked off.
Salamence. That is Salamence. Oh
Hands in
my
there.
god!
Surviving.
Oh my. I guess we understand the
the
Iron
Head to
Draco
secure the
Meteor.
knockout.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, right. It is at -1. We forgot.
And another Snarl. Kingdra is essentially useless here, being at a -4.
Wow. That was a very interesting turn. That burn is coming in so handy for James. I think if the burn hadn't happened, it would have been a even more
That's true,
one-sided
and
match.
he'd be putting out more damage with any move he went for.
We do see the switch in of Heatran. Kingdra, now that it's out of rain, no Life Orb, -4. It is not going to be doing very much in this situation.
He just wants to leave at this point.
I think Kingdra's probably just gonna die. I could definitely see a protect for Metagross to try and sacrifice the Kingdra.
Yeah, I guess it
tiny
could
bit
get
of
a
damage.
Money.
Especially if we do see,
Wouldn't really
you know,
do
something
anything.
like especially if we do have something like a Terrakion in the back.
Yes, very
Because
true.
like, because I could see Earth Power onto the Kingdra being, you know, a solid player. You know, Heat Wave, Drain Punch. Kingdra
Okay,
deciding to
leaving.
switch out.
That's deciding
Going
what's
to get,
worth it.
and we do
And
see Terrakion in the back.
If
Metagross-
if Nick feels like getting big, he just
Nick-
pumped his fist. He might be
Nick
getting
always
big.
gets big. You see the
He
flag?
got big!
Oh my god. I
Learning
think
it-
the story of these 2 weeks is Nick's just making ridiculous plays.
I think
Getting
we're gonna
away
follow up with a drain punch to get back that 1 HP. At this point, I kind of have to wonder whether it's worth doing anything other than sacrificing the Kingdra, because now he just doesn't have answers to the
Thunderous?
Heatran. He can still Zen Headbutt Thunderous if it comes in, but I don't think we're going to see it.
I'm not sure, because I think this position is less against James than you think, depending upon what's in the back.
I don't. Kingdra can't take out the Heatran.
If there's a
Salvage.
no matter what's in the back, I think why can't Kingdra take out the Heatran?
I think it's salvageable for James,
it's
but he's not
-0.
in a good position
I know,
right
but
now.
it doesn't have Life Orb. There's no rain.
Could get the crit.
It's Life
Accuracy
Orb
drop.
It is
Life Orb is off.
No. The Heatran is Life.
But yes.
So the Heatran doesn't have that much bulk.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible that, you know, stab
Did
Muddy
we see
Water.
Muddy Water?
Um,
No, Muddy Water would not take that out.
we just see that
But
we
it
see the
could-
protect from
gonna protect,
Heatran.
yeah.
You know, making the very
Could get the accuracy drop though.
very obvious plays. Metagross going for the
Metagross subbing.
substitute, and
Well, this might be a
Kingdra
pretty good
going for the Muddy Water.
Gonna get the hit. Okay.
It's going to get the hit.
So James actually putting himself back into the game.
I'm not sure. I think Nick is trying to get rid of the Scrafty in that position to bring in a.
Oh, I
Thunderous.
know, but the sub on Metagross is still good.
The sub on Metagross is good, and we see a Terrakion in the back.
But the Kingdra outside of rain, it just there.
It
to
really
get
depends
bumped
upon
by
the item on Terrakion, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because if that Terrakion is Sash,
Then
James
is in trouble.
James,
Then James has to hope for a flinch.
then James is pretty definitively lost, except for flinches. Now, if the Terrakion's not Sash, we could just see, you know, an Iron Head onto it from Metagross and a Muddy Water, or, you know, protecting the Kingdra, trying to get single targets.
Here comes the Iron Head.
on
And we will see what the item has been revealed to be.
It is.
It is a Sash.
Sash. Did James get the flinch?
No flinch.
Really.
Yeah.
And we see the KO on Kingdra. You know, James not getting his traditional luck with flinching moves. And we will see a Heat Wave. I'm not really sure about that.
Interesting
choice.
that he didn't Earth Power, but
All right. So here's. All right. So here's the $1 million question: Is James Beck hiding Earthquake on that set?
It's
Almost certainly not.
I doubt that there's Earthquake on that set. When you see Substitute on Metagross,
And you know what? He's just
and
gonna
we
forfeit.
see a forfeit, yes.
Yeah. Not much reason not to at that point. But maybe he was just hiding the Earthquake from us.
To get information for Game 2. Or not. That seems very unlikely to me. So
Yeah, that would be stupid.
How would you adapt if you were James? I think it was very manageable as a matchup. He just kept predicting Clefairy to come
Yeah.
in, and it just wasn't there. He could have kept going for Muddy Waters instead of substitutes.
I feel like if James just kind of adapts to LightCore's playstyle, which is very funky, it relies on all these huge reads almost every
it's
single
really
turn.
it's really janky. For
It's
some
effective.
reason, it's effective, but you know, if he doesn't get it these turns, you know, it'll just turn against him. He's just, you know, gotten it again and again and again and again.
But I do think James going to be able to react to it this game, at least better than he did that game.
Yeah, I
But
think
that last game
Politoed
did actually get kind of close.
I think Politoed and Kingdra are still very good. Maybe not necessarily as a lead.
I don't know. I could
think-
see him repeating it.
I think the main issue for me is how James deals with Scrafty.
Yeah, now that I look at it, the team doesn't have any great ways of dealing with it. No fairies. I mean,
Well, you could see a lead of Metagross for the clear body.
yeah, that's true. And it's not like knockoff
something
does
like,
too
yeah,
much
and
too
something
when it's
like,
not checking an
I
item.
know, Metagross Hydreigon Metagross, and maybe Terrakion. Metagross.
Oh, and we see the game starting.
Polytoad, maybe like Terrakion, Kingdra in the back. I think that could be pretty reasonable.
Yeah. I think he might want to bring the same lineup because they're
In the
all
same order?
not the same order,
And
but
we
the
do
same
see
group of
Terrakion,
four
Metagross.
Pokemon. Yeah.
Hydreigon probably isn't that good in this situation. We do see lead of Scrafty and Heatran. Excellent adjustment from LightCore. Quite often making the right plays with leads.
Yeah. I mean, he saw Rain last game, and he worked around it just by, getting really risky, but
winning.
smart.
And so Metagross activating a clear body, but doesn't seem to be in that good of a position right here. Do you know if Terrakion close combat one-shots Heatran at -1?
This Life Orb, I don't really think so. Well, actually, I think it's a little bit rolly, because I know that generally does it on Kang, and Heatran, like, since this is an offensive
It has
one...
106 defense, but it has 6 more defensive points, but 10 less HP, right?
More than 10, yeah.
Isn't it base 90 HP?
Yeah, Kang is base 105.
Oh, okay. So, no matter what, we're probably like, we see Terrakion switching out, possibly for a Polytoad.
Nick was bouncing around, so...
It's interesting.
Oh, okay.
switch.
Double switch.
Okay.
Here comes the rain.
I'm not sure I would have switched Kingdra into that slot because I think for me,
Yeah, James has to be
I would
really
have
careful
targeted
about
a
a
lot.
knockoff somewhere.
We do see the Earth Power going onto the Polytoad. Interesting choice. I would have targeted the Terrakion. We do see.
Oh, Snarl! Whoa!
Wow, Nick is making the reads in this situation. So now we see, a pretty neutered Kingdra. Not a neutered Kingdra, it's in rain. We're likely to see a Muddy Water coming out from this, but Scrafty's just going to keep snarling.
Yeah.
Kingdra's going to do less and less damage. And even with the sub, Snarl bypasses that. So.
Yeah, so James' most likely play at this point is probably a Helping Hand Muddy Water.
I'm not sure about that.
Be interesting to see what Nick does. I would say maybe probably switches out the Heatran, but since he's been going insane these past
I don't
2
think
weeks,
there's any kind of reason to leave the Heatran in.
Or-
Well, no, I mean, leave it in for attack. That's still fair.
So we do see the Muddy Water. Probably going to see the Icy Wind covering the possible Salmon switch.
Does it have Icy Wind?
Maybe
I could understand a Scald on Scrafty Fish
I
for
think I saw Icy Wind last game, turn 1 from the back street. And we don't see a burn. We see a knockoff onto Kingdra.
wants to get rid of that Life Orb immediately.
This is looking to be, another 2-0 in favor of Nick. It does not look good in this situation.
I don't think we could say quite yet, but
Not
that is
quite
true.
yet, but the Snarl's going to do a lot of work.
Yes.
Kingdra can't do much in this situation. It's -1. It's no Life Orb. It didn't even KO Salamence with Draco Meteor like that last game.
I wouldn't expect it to.
Yeah, I know, but that means he loses the largest source of offensive pressure. Once Heatran switches out, comes back in at the end, I think it could be pretty.
Heatran might want to go into his Salamence here.
Yeah,
Plus Scrafty Snarls again.
That seems reasonably safe.
Yeah.
I don't think Salamence really does much in this matchup.
It returns things.
It returns
It's what
things.
it did last
Yeah,
game.
sure. But I don't think it's really necessary if Scrafty is still around.
I think it kind of helps adds on to Scrafty's kind of neutering with its
so
offensive pressure.
So I guess what I'm saying is it's a Pokemon that I'd be willing to switch in this position because bad things would not necessarily happen if a Draco landed on it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, at that point, the Scrafty is
That's
still
what I'm
doing
saying.
work.
Scrafty is still,
really
snarling.
forced to switch.
We could see
if
a
it goes for
Drain
Draco
Punch
Meteor.
onto Kingdra or a Snarl. I think this is it seems reasonably safe for Nick to make whatever play he feels like.
Yeah, be a little bit hard
We do
to
see a
mess
switch
up.
out from Heatran, possibly into a Clefairy, but we do see it into the Salamence. James shakes his head, says it was too risky. We see the Muddy Water coming out from Kingdra,
Missing the Salamence.
Probably wasn't going to do that much damage anyway.
Could have gotten the accuracy drop
We
though.
do see the accuracy drop.
Oh, Icy Wind. Solid.
James trying to claw himself back in this game.
That was a good way to cover more than one base at the same time, though.
Yeah, that was the play I would have. That's the play I would have made.
Oh!
So,
boy.
question of the hour. is that Salamence within Draco Meteor range?
-1.
It's, well, we did see the calculation
I would
last
say that
time.
it's barely outside of it.
I think
or
that's within a roll. I think that's
within
within a roll. But like, again, we could just see a Salamence protecting and Scrafty going for another Snarl.
I forgot that James actually has both of his Pokemon standing in the back.
Yeah, he does.
This isn't as one-sided as you were making it sound.
Yeah, that is true, but I think, you know, I think the matchup Salamence has against, you know, Terrakion and...
A Metagross, it's not like doing too much to that.
Yeah. It's
And
not
since
100%
it's a
one...
Sash
Oh,
Terrakion.
and he's just flailing away. We see the Metagross switching.
That's pretty safe.
Yeah, I guess you could have, like,
Oh,
a
but he
knockoff.
just pumped his fist. I think Politoed might get bumped here.
Probably a return onto Politoed and a Snarl.
Did he Earthquake?
I doubt it. That doesn't...
Is he gonna...
No,
Oh,
no.
not that big, but big enough.
Politoed just faints. No Intimidate's gone onto that side.
Does Scrafty feel like hitting
Scrafty's
moves?
going for
Yes.
Drain Punch.
Not for too much damage.
Fair enough. You know, in this matchup, I think... Well, we could see a Terrakion switch in. I think that'd be very strong for James
Oh,
in
yeah.
this position.
But he needs to keep using the rain while it's up.
That is true. That is true. Kingdra, now back at +0. We could see a Draco Meteor onto the Scrafty to just get that out of the way.
It's a Salt Fest. I don't even think that would get it from here.
I think it
That's fair. Yeah.
Remember that it has lost its Sly form.
That is
Maybe a Muddy
true.
Water thing.
But we might see
Muddy Water doesn't really have a place here.
possibly a double target onto the Scrafty Muddy Water Iron Head. I could see that, especially given that Salamence is at -1 speed.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what Nick's backs are here, he might just have really safe plays that we're not
Yeah,
sure
I think
of quite yet.
I think Nick could just return the Kingdra. That seems pretty safe to
Yeah.
me. Because if he
But then
returns a Kingdra,
Meadows might be able to take out Scrafty here with an Iron Head.
I highly doubt it. He told me earlier today that when he won the PC last week, he had 36 EVs in attack, and he took all of them out. That's a full bulk Scrafty.
Meadows and Mega Evolving, that's no surprise.
Yep. And so we will see Muddy Water coming out from Kingdra. No
Benz
protection.
is probably going to be returning the King for
Kingdra,
here.
yeah, that's the play that I
But
would.
Muddy Water is kind of good.
We see the second accuracy drop. We see Iron Head
Iron
going
Head
on
on
to
the Scrafty.
on the Scrafty.
Metagross is faster than the...
-1.
Minus one. It's good.
Oh, yes.
And we see the return onto the Kingdra. So, this is a very interesting position, because at -1 speed,
I really don't know why you would Muddy Water there, aside from, like, fishing for accuracy.
Heatran switches.
Yeah.
What other
yeah,
what
I can
other
kinda
would you
see
Draco
that.
Meteor the Salamence and let Scrafty, you know, Drain Punch the Metagross?
Drain Punch?
I don't know.
For how
The
much?
Metagross, I don't know. For 34 damage.
Yeah, as we see that Scarf Thunderous that gave me a lot of problems last week switching.
So Thunderous, it's going to be very interesting in this match. I do believe was the item on hashtag got wrecked.
It's a
revealed.
sash.
It was revealed.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I don't know if that Thunderous can take out either of James's Pokemon in one hit here.
And the
so-
Salamence is slower than
Yeah,
the
that's
Terrakion.
really big.
That's
Otherwise,
really
it would
big.
generally be outspeeding both of James' Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm. Oh, we see the Volt switch going out onto the Terrakion, trying to keep it around for another Thunderbolt onto the Metagross. A solid play.
It's gonna have to be into the
And
Heatran that we saw.
Into the Heatran, so I guess we'll see what James has done to deal with this. Possibly a Rock Slide. But if he goes for the... We do see Iron Head going onto the Salamence.
He doesn't have reason to follow up with anything other than a Rock
Rock
Slide
Slide.
that avoids the Salamence!
I don't... let's be calm here for a second. I don't think that particularly mattered. Because,
Disagree very strongly.
it mattered.
No,
here-
because the Metagross would have been free to, like, attack the Thunderous while the Terrakion protects the next turn.
I'm not sure that would have KO'd. Though.
Yeah, that's
then you get a
true.
Heat Wave. I think it was still, you know,
Yeah.
unless luck had happened, the match was still very much in Nick's favor.
Oh, and James is going to be one of those guys that just uses
James
Protect.
is that guy. But again, a 2-0 in favor of LightCore. Very strong performance these 2 weeks.
Unless James is planning on flinching on Heat Ram to death.
It's not really possible.
That is not his out.
It's my out. That's what I'd play. I think that's the best play in this situation. Wow, that is a very slow silence.
Minus
-1.
one speed. Still minus 1.
Interesting. He took off Earthquake and switched it for Roost. Roost.
Yeah,
Just roosted.
it's fair. I mean, Bruce, DD, return, protected.
That's a very
pretty standard try
yeah.
through.
You're
Gonna start going for the flinches, not have any chance at getting them. As an Earth Power takes out the Metagross to win Nick his second PC in a row.
2-0, 2-0, 2-0. The only game he has legitimately lost in these 2 weeks is Game 2 to Angel. He he went 3-1 at this PC, but he actually played a bit poorly on purpose to allow one of his friends to cut. So very strong performance, showing that even in the Northeast with a number of strong players can still be dominant. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm Jonathan Ezrael at Ezrael VGC. This is Chuppa at Chuppa VGC.
And this is P Dons. You can tweet at me at PD0N.